All right, so I just wanted to do a little bit of an update on how I'm handling this big curve on the layout. So the main line is basically going to go from towards the front of this table, basically parallel to the edge, and then you're going to immediately cut into a curve, which is going to be almost 180-degree curve. Then there's going to be a straight section of about 38 inches, I think, and then you're going to immediately curve back the other way and connect with the main line over here for a short straight section before you go over the lift bridge and to this other side of the layout. And I'll just do a really brief pan around. I know it's messy, but at least it'll show kind of how big the layout is, and or small, depending upon your your perspective. This toilet paper mount, you're probably wondering what that is. This I actually found to be really helpful for the mock-ups. Before I cut all of these pink foam bricks, so to speak, to size, it was just really quick to move them around, play around with my track templates here, and just do a really quick rough mock-up before I did the actual thing. So anyways, now that you kind of know the environment, essentially there's an 8-inch drop-off between almost all the tables and this section over here. That's because there's going to be it's in a mountainous region. I'm modeled modern day West Virginia, so there's going to be a drop off in front of the tracks and then an incline behind the tracks, and I'm doing 2-inch spacing over here because, you know, I want to save a little bit of space, and I think that looks the most prototypical. But as you cross over into this curve, I want to spread these out slightly and all the way through here, so that the 85-foot cars and everything, auto racks and AM fleets, will not contact each other. I'm switching the spacing to 2.5 inches, and that's the same way it's going to be over here. So that's one thing that makes it a little bit complex. I'm also going to try to add some slight easements between the curves. So for anybody that doesn't know, that's essentially when you go from a straight section to a curve, you don't just immediately transition from a straight to a curve. You have a radius over here, and then you have a radius in between them that's a little bit bigger. Just makes things run a little bit more smoothly and look a little bit better. So that's kind of the lay of the land right now. Basically what I have going to do this is, I originally used my tripod, which is over here. I have it's crude, but I have a screw sticking up here, and then I have a yardstick that has a hole in it. And I set up where my main line was going to be here. I set up roughly where my main line was going to be there. And then I set the tripod up here, swung it around, marked some curves, decided how far I wanted to be from the backdrop here, and just roughed in this whole area. And so I drew that on the base foam here. And then I knew there was going to need to be a little bit of wiggle room because things are changing. A lot of different curves are coming together, different spacing and all that. So this was just a rough guide for where I was going to put my risers. And these risers get me 6 out of the 8 inches that I need upwards. So these are just actually probably 9 inches long, 4 inches wide. And this is 2-inch thick foam. This is the R rating. I don't think, yeah, this is 2-inch thick pieces. Anyways, it's 6 inches to the top of here. These are all glued together with caulking, or some of them I actually used liquid nails for projects, just what I had on hand to save a little bit of money. But these are all, firmly in place, and they roughly follow the curvature that you need going all the way around, so that eventually what I'm gonna do is put a wider piece of foam that's nice and smooth across the top, follows the curvature. That's what I'm making templates for here. And that's gonna be the top surface that the true track lines are drawn on. So this was the rough guide. These are the spacers to get to the top. And these are just the mock-ups of what the top surface will be. Hopefully that makes sense. You might also notice that a couple of these are askew. So like this one here and this one here. The reason I did that is because, I don't plan on moving anytime soon, but essentially this is one segment of bench work and this is another. So allowing for a cut line between the two tables and not having, eventually 8 inches of foam all glued together right over that seam is going to make it just so much easier when I eventually do need to break this down to separate. I'll just have to cut through, rails and track for the main line, some roadbed, and one piece of foam rather than below that an additional 6 inches of foam, actually maybe even 7 with this. So just trying to think a little bit about the future and how difficult it'll be to keep things manageable should I have to move. So that's why those are a little bit askew. This area where the bridge is going, there's a few things going on here. So I plan on using a three Walthers kits actually, maybe a couple more depending upon what I do for the piers. But essentially there's going to be a, let's see, I have a picture of it. So you can ignore the beautiful train here, but it's going to be 2 plate girders on each side, a truss bridge in the middle. It's the shorter Walthers, of course, double track one. There's these large standoffs here, and then there's these smaller ones at the end, so the ground will kind of curve down here, and there'll be a river in the middle. And so all that's going to fit right here, and my template for it, I think this comes to, I think it's about 27 inches or so, but this is how long those 3 bridges added together will be, and it's going to lay basically about right here. And so I'm making my template to go all the way, connecting all of these standoffs to have a nice smooth run, but I'm leaving this one, and this one not glued into place because I want to plot out the curves once everything is all at the same level. And then I want to be able to come back here and say, okay, I have, 4 inches over here of straight between the curve and the bridge. And I have 2 inches over here, and I want to be able to just take this template, essentially move it left and right, and then decide, okay, this is the perfect spot for the riser for the bridge where the last transition is. And hey, this is the perfect spot for this one, so that, I have something a little bit more reliable to measure off of. These are cut nice and square to size, these ones here, rather than most of the other ones, which are rough. So just essentially this is going to be a bigger project that takes a decent amount of time to put these 3 together. So I wanted to have that flexible, because if I nail these down, I know something's going to change, right? There's a lot of pieces coming together, and there's no way that I'm going to get them all right on the first try. So anyways, here's an overview again. I just wanted to talk through with anyone who's interested, kind of the thought process behind getting a high amount of height variation in your scenery with a big curve, and how to practically do that with foam. Initially, I actually had planned to, do much more solid pieces of foam, but I decided that with the cost of foam these days and the difficulty of cutting through 8 inches of foam, it would make a lot more sense to do a riser system. And then you guys get to see, anyone that's interested, of course, just what the rough plan is going to be for the future. And yeah, curious if anybody has any alternate ideas or has seen this done a different way. Just wanted to put that out there. Thanks.